What is happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Today I am reviewing this San Marino Blue M4CS. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. First, we're going to start it off with a little bit of driving footage because really that's what we all want to see. So let's go ahead and hop in the car and see how this thing performs. All right, guys, we are in the M4CS. The DCT transmission. Got her in Sport Plus. So this one in particular does have the M Performance adjustable spring setup by BMW. So the interior on the M4CS is gorgeous. I'm not gonna lie. This car, it looks really, really good on the interior. Definitely doesn't make you feel like you're in a standard M4 or like an M4 competition. It's got the thicker suede steering wheel. It's got the suede, the dash piece up here with the CS in it. It's got the suede Alcantara over here. It's got the competition seats with the suede in those. And then most importantly, it's got these beautiful carbon door cards with the pull straps to close the doors. Just feels very race car. It is responsive. It sounds good. You know, I was a little bit worried about the S65 just having that tone that not a lot of people love. It does have that little bit of rasp to it, which is, we already know. He's got those burbles on aggressive mode. So the exhaust is a Remus exhaust, which is nice. I like it. DCT is... So I like the DCT because of the clamping. I mean, that clamping that you get out of the DCT is very harsh. I've always sort of liked that. You can obviously change it down here with the aggression, how hard it clamps. But, you know, ever since I had the E90 M3, I loved the DCT. I thought it was a fantastic transmission. A lot of people that complain about the DCT say it's very clunky. This car is meant to be driven. It's meant to be driven hard. You don't drive a BMW M4CS to just sit around in traffic all day. You buy this car and you drive this car the way it's meant to be driven, the way it was built to be driven, which is hard, in the corners, in the back roads, on the track. Wow. It is responsive. Pretty harsh ride, I'm not gonna lie. Steering wheel feels great. I love the thickness of it. Handling is awesome. Wow. Yeah, this thing feels amazing. See, that's one thing that the ZF just doesn't quite have. That DCT clamping, man, when you shift, it jolts you, it grabs so hard, which I like to think most people like. When they have a car that is meant to be driven fast and hard, it's kind of nice to have that stiff clamping power. The ZF feels a little bit, too soft. It's not quite as good as the DCT. Oh, this car is great, man. In the corners, this car feels fantastic. The San Marino paint is beautiful. And the wheels that come on these cars, I believe they're the 763Ms, are probably my favorite factory BMW wheels. Forged, lightweight, they just look incredible. Been a long time since I've been in a driving an actual, you know, BMW M4, M3 of any modern era. I've been obviously stuck in E36 world, which I love, but this car is quite nice, I'm not gonna lie. I am enjoying it. So the interior is very, very, very well done. I will say there is a bit of a lack of storage space. There's not a ton of room to put things with your door cards. I guess that's the sacrifice, right? Oh my God, that clamping. Woo! She gets up. Wow. So the CS obviously makes a little more power, a little more torque than the competition. And you know, I feel like these cars, you're getting to that level of power, that level of torque that you don't really need more. This car just is perfect. The handling is fantastic. It feels so good. It's very stiff, but it's meant to be stiff. It's meant to be rigid like that. Yeah, it takes the corners very well. The DCT clamping is something that you never quite get used to when you're in full throttle. I mean, it shifts so violently. It throws you back in your seat, and if you're not ready for it, it can be a bit surprising. The S65 is such a fantastic platform. I mean, it is the platform that you can make so much power so quickly, and it's very responsive. You know, being that it's a twin turbo, the torque is there. I mean, it's readily available for you right when you need it. And paired with the transmission with this DCT, it's just a great combination. Now they don't offer the CS, the M4CS in manual, which is something that for me personally would probably be a deal breaker, because I love to have that manual. And this car would be a fantastic manual optioned car. I mean, the way that it is with this interior, with everything that's going on with the car, a manual transmission would just be amazing in this car. But wow, what a great car. And I mean, when you drive it, you feel very connected to it. It doesn't feel overly electronic. That is something that I've always enjoyed about the F-Series BMWs. This is something that I enjoyed about my M2, even my F30. You know, these cars, they're right in that sweet spot. They're not too electronic to where it feels like the car is driving for you. It still feels like you have that raw connection. Whereas like you go to the E36 and you're doing everything yourself. And then you go to the E46, it gets a little bit better. But in the F-Series, it feels very good. There's a very good balance between a modern car with your infotainment and all the electronics and nannies that you want without overdoing it. Whoa. She gets up, buddy. Oh, man. And it feels good. That power is there. Responsive as heck. So let's talk about the drawback, right? The price. The price of the M4CS it's up there, fellas. It's not going to be a cheap one. You know, I looked around a little bit online, and it looks like the cheapest used M4CS that I could find was mid-70s. And the highest price ones were well above 100, 110, 110K. So you're going to be spending a lot of money on an M4, and I just don't know how many people are interested in shelling out over $100,000 for a BMW M car. You could definitely go to the next level and get the M4 GTS, but also, again, a very expensive M car. Say the M4CS is probably the sweet spot if you think about it. You've got the M4 competition, you got the M4 base model, you've got the M4 GTS. The M4CS probably falls right in that middle sweet spot area where you're not getting like the crazy race car, but you're getting enough of a streetable race car. It's a great balance. I mean, they did such a fantastic job on this car, inside and outside. We're gonna hop out. I'm gonna show you guys the exterior of the car here in a little bit, but just cruising it around. I mean, this is my first time ever driving an M4CS. I've only driven a couple of M4s in manual, but this works really well. Everything works really well in this car, the way that it's paired, the way that it looks, the way that it feels. I still feel very engaged, you know, and that's something with the E36 that I've always felt so engaged to that car, and that's something with the Supra that was kind of lacking. I didn't feel as engaged in that car. And, you know, Supra's making 560 wheel horsepower, but there's just times where it feels a little bit numb, and I will say that this car I definitely feel more connected in this car than I do in the Supra. So there is that little bit of S55 rasp that peeks its head through there, and it just feels like a little much. It just feels like a little much, but the car is still a fantastic car. It's just that, you know how it is with these S55s, man. This is what it looks like when you're driving the car. Got your stereotypical F-Series infotainment, iDrive screen. Everything else really does look the same. This is a nice touch. You know, you've got your Alcantara with the CS in there, the matching spots on the steering wheel. I will say this steering wheel is very, very nice. Every car that I have, I typically change out the steering wheel and do a custom one, but I don't even know that that's necessary with this car. This steering wheel is nice. It's very thick, Alcantara, feels good, feels grippy. I've always liked the factory F-Series paddles. I think it's completely unnecessary to change those out. I actually upgraded the ones in my F30 to these paddles because I like them so much. I don't think it was necessary to do aftermarket ones. Your DCT area, obviously all the same. You've got your Alcantara all back here, which I love. Just flat all the way through. No real armrest. Comes with the door cards. You've got the carbon, which looks absolutely beautiful. You've got your strap right there for the door. The only obvious thing that you're missing here is you don't have any storage over here, which I can imagine for some people might get a bit annoying. All you have for storage are your cup holders and then your glove box, and that is it. So this is a stripped down version of the M4 competition. It's effectively what it is. But they did that, I guess, for the weight, being that these are fully carbon and you're dropping some weight there. Obviously, it's got a carbon roof on it. And I do like the F-Series in general. I think it's just a fantastic chassis, probably one of the best ever made by BMW. But if you are someone who likes some of the more modern cars, the F-Series is gonna feel a bit outdated. You know, they had this back in, what, 2012? They were developing the F-Series interior, and they did not change a thing. So that's probably something when it came to the CS that would have been just a nice touch to just change something up a little bit more dramatically so it didn't feel as much like the base model or the competition. But for the people who buy these cars, you know, they're not really concerned about that. You're buying this car for the performance, you're buying this car for the feel, and they did a great job on it. Comparatively to the M2, totally different, being that it's obviously the DCT versus the manual, being that it's a CS with the S55 versus the N55, it is very, very different. Most dramatically, the sound. The S55 is, for some people, a tough pill to swallow. I feel like the S55s get such a bad rep online. It's similar to the narrative that you hear with the Supras. Oh, fake vents. Oh, it's made by BMW. It's kind of the things that most of us don't really care about that own it, but the people who want to find something to complain about the car, that would be the talking point. It would be the sound of the S55. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do think the N55 obviously sounds a lot better than the S55, but I don't think the S55 sounds as nearly as bad as people make it out to be. And furthermore, there are remedies for that. You know, active auto work makes a equal length mid pipe, which helps out dramatically, or you could just be a full send Savage and single turbo it. I think if I were to ever go back to the F-Series chassis, it would probably be an M2 competition. And I would love to be able to single turbo set up an M2 competition. I think that would be just right. I think it would be perfect. And if it wasn't exactly perfect, I can reassure you that it would be a hell of a lot of fun. The real test. Stop and go traffic with the DCT. Now, if I'm comparing this to my E90, the E90 in stop and go was quite clunky. This doesn't feel nearly as bad. It feels like a much smoother transmission, and I'm still in Sport Plus. And it's not bad at all. Obviously the ZF is gonna be even more smooth, but no, I like this. I think this is great. Especially the aggression that you get out of it, that trade-off is totally worth it. One thing that I will never be able to get over is just how beautiful San Marino looks like on these cars. I mean, this paint is just gotta be my favorite individual paint. It's a blue with a purple flake to it. It just looks incredible. Paired with the gunmetal 763M wheels. He's got some carbon fiber bits on it. It does have the CS carbon fiber front lip, and then it does also have a splitter here to protect this front lip, which is nice. You definitely need that. This car is low. It's not extremely low, but it's low enough to where you will have to be careful about where you're driving and what bumps you're hitting. And of course, the CS hood, which just looks amazing on these cars. He also has the BMW M Performance side skirt extensions, which are just a simple plastic, ABS plastic, which in my opinion is the way to go. You don't have to worry about it too much. Beautiful carbon fiber roof. And then of course the carbon fiber trunk lid spoiler paired with the carbon fiber diffuser and the carbon fiber tips on the Remus exhaust. I really do like the way that Remus exhaust sounds. It's not bad. It's not too raspy. It's got enough throat to it. It's great. It's a good tone. Now, like I said, you know, you're gonna have a lot of people that are just upset over the fact that it's got that S65 rasp, but I really don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. And then of course, these remarkable OLED M4CS taillights, which just look unreal. So that is what we are looking at with the M4CS. It's my first time ever driving one, and I love it. It's a fantastic car. The thing is, you know, would I be able to shell out? Would I be able to stomach the $100,000 price tag of an M4CS? Now, obviously, as they come down, and the market's kind of ridiculous right now, but in the future, when these cars come down in value, 60, 50K, that would be an absolute bargain for a car like this. 100K is obviously more than I would want to shell out on an M4CS. I would probably just go like an M4 competition route. I do feel like the things that they've added onto the M4CS are worth it. You can definitely feel the difference. You see the difference. The interior is just way better. The way that they did the seats, the way that they did the steering wheel, all of the Alcantara bits, and then of course those carbon door cards, it's very race car. Feels good. So they're like your competition seats with the little embroidered M stitching right here. And then obviously you have the Alcantara on the insides. And here, Alcantara up here with the CS. And then the Alcantara all the way back here deletes the armrest. It looks really good. The steering wheel is also Alcantara, a little bit thicker. Now, one thing, you know, they do have the analog gauges in here, which can feel a little bit outdated. You would think that for a car that was $100,000, the gauges would be upgraded to a digital thing, but most people are not going to care about that, especially when buying a BMW M4. But nonetheless, a very beautiful interior, and they did a great job on it. And of course, these beautiful door cards that are carbon fiber, very lightweight. Leather on top, Alcantara right here, and of course your pull strap to close the door. Now, I do think that one thing, you know, that could have been addressed on this car that BMW didn't would be the crank hub. These S55 platforms that are tuned with CS tunes, I think it would have been wise to do the crank hub fix from the factory, and I don't believe these do have that. Look at that exposed carbon on the hood. God, that's beautiful. But here she is, your S55. I mean, you guys know what she looks like. She looks good. Got her carbon brace going across here. Now this one is, this car in particular is completely stock other than the M Performance adjustable springs and then the Remus exhaust, which is kind of nice because I wanted a relatively stock version of this car to experience. And man, it is a great car. It is a fantastic version of a BMW M4. And I love it, man. I think that a lot of people, when these come down in value in the future, they're gonna be just a killer car to buy. For whatever reason, I've never been able to get over these 763M wheels. I just love them. I think they're so simple and just classic. They're forged, they're lightweight, beautiful OEM wheels from BMW. And I actually wanted to put these on the M2 at one point because I think they're just such a killer wheel. All right, guys, so that is going to wrap up today's video with this beautiful San Marino M4CS. Huge shout out to my friend Sergey, who allowed me to use his car today to make this video. I deeply appreciate it. I'll have his Instagram handle linked down below. But if you guys enjoyed the M4CS, comment down below. Do you own one? Have you driven one? What do you think about this car? Do you think it's worth the 100K, 80K, 90K price tag? I do think this car is absolutely incredible. It feels amazing. It's fun to drive. It's responsive. It's aggressive. The DCT is really nice. But is it worth that 100K? Comment down below. Tell me what you think. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Love